Hi, everybody. This is Allison from Cat Creations. How are you? Please like, share, subscribe to my channel if you have yet to do so. And if you get anything from my work, a connect, done, epiphany, a mind explosion, a new book to read, a new author to explore, please consider supporting my work. All the links are at the bottom of the description. Allylattkreations211.com is where you can see the paint and sip, craft and sip, skulls, pyramids, candles, paintings, hyper realistic drawings. That one happens to be right here. It's not anywhere near done yet. We're working on it. You can see all that stuff. And if you're interested in commissioning or wanting some artwork from me, please email me or message me on social media if you have me on there. I do everything privately. So hi. I have 3D and 4D memberships. It's a really great way to contribute back to this channel. It helps me keep semi afloat. We'll get into that. And you guys get oracle card readings every weekend. I do collective tapping into all the people that are there, what you need, spirit channels through me. So it's really fun. And you guys get special emojis. 4D gets behind the scenes access to what I'm working on. And I'm really excited. And they get to give me some feedback. So I like involving my members slash friends slash like minds. Also, if you heart align with any of my work, any one of my videos that you feel very like, oh, I learned something today, or oh, that hit a spot in my heart. Please hype if you're on a phone or an iPad tablet. That helps get the algorithm out there. It helps me a lot. So I do appreciate it. Before we're going to do quantum AI metaphysical ponderings, I might be shifting a lot in the chair. I should have taken an aspirin. I don't like to take that stuff, but I walked to work this morning. I walked home from work. I then walked 2 hours, an hour going and an hour coming back to the post office. A 5-minute drive takes an hour, especially in -2 degrees. So I just got back a little while ago, had something to eat because I didn't eat today. And it's a little too late to do a book reading, but I figured let me do this. Unfortunately, I had an unexpected bill come my way, which I had to pay. And it wiped me out again. I'm over it. I'm done. I am hoping to collapse into the reality that I observe that I am financially sovereign and abundant. I'm tired. I'm doing the work. I'm letting it go. I'm feeling the feelings. And I still have not seen any evidence of such. And the universe is testing me, and I think I'm kind of over it. Because my body shouldn't hurt this bad. And I should, after all the things I have done for others, no. But that's okay. The walking gives me some clear time to be with nature, to be with myself, and to really slow down and look at the big picture to see what I need to do next. If not anything, disappear. Because I'm at that point again. First article from Quantum Cookie. Quantum particles can slip past limits in space and time, reaching later positions instantly without moving through the steps in between. I'm a little baffled at this, but I saw it and I shared it to myself. Quantum physics has revealed one of its wildest surprises. Particles can jump into the future without passing through the moments in between, breaking the flow of time in ways our everyday world never shows. This effect is called quantum tunneling through time, and it challenges nearly everything we think we know about movement. In normal life, getting anywhere means traveling through every step along the path, but quantum particles play by different rules. Researchers found that under the right conditions, a particle can skip ahead, appearing at a future position without showing any trace of moving through the middle. No trail, no delay, no sign of a journey. Just a sudden arrival that should be impossible. Science describe this as the particle borrowing energy and slipping through barriers time would normally block. Instead of waiting for events to unfold, the particle uses quantum certainty to land in a moment that has not happened yet. This process is tiny and brief, but it proves that the flow of time is not as straight as it seems when we look closely enough. What makes this discovery even more exciting is its potential. If particles can break time sequence, then future quantum technologies might use this effect to create faster ways to send information or stimulate events with far more accuracy. The rules of time itself may become a tool scientists can work with instead of a fixed barrier they cannot cross. For now, researchers are studying how often these time jumps happen and what triggers the effect. Each new experiment reveals that reality is far less rigid than our senses suggest. Time feels steady and predictable. Yet deep in the quantum world, it bends, twists, and opens. Strange shortcuts that remind us the universal holds mysteries far beyond our grasp. I didn't share my screen, but I'm going to. I have to investigate more of quantum tunneling, but to the extent that I will say quantum teleportation is what this really smells like. It feels like. I'm not 100% sure. I would love to skip ahead to where I have no worries and struggles and I don't have to walk like old grandpa 5 miles to the store in dead of winter. That'd be great because it hurts. So yeah, I want to say that quantum teleportation is really singing its song to me right here. Meaning that the particle, photon, all the things that create this, the particle, doesn't really have a trace because it materializes somewhere else in a snap. It might tether to the field and just jump around. I don't know. It's a good pondering. It's a very good pondering. Um, just imagine we can all do that. That'd be phenomenal. By the way, I I'm doing this to get myself out of a mindset that it's not the best one. It's hard. but we're going to persevere. And if I don't, I'm disappearing because I can't handle the bullshit that my soul signed up for. The bullshit. Another article we have here, quantum zero-point motion proves empty space is never still, as hidden fluctuations shape forces, space-time behavior, and the growth of the universe. I don't even know. Zero-point energy is a natural background activity that remains even when space appears completely empty. Is any space actually empty, folks? I don't necessarily believe that crap. And why is because we have quantum fields, layers, and so much that overlays what we perceive is empty, probably is not. But let's just keep going here. Quantum physics shows that particles never truly rest. Nothing ever does. Everything vibrates. They appear and disappear in tiny bursts, which means that every region of space is always in motion. This idea sounds unusual, but experiments support it strongly. A key example is the Kashmir effect. When two metal plates are placed close together, there is less room for vacuum activity between them. Outside the plates, the activity is stronger. This difference creates a very small push that forces the plates toward each other. Scientists have measured this force with high accuracy, which confirms that vacuum energy is real. These small changes inside a vacuum may seem minor, but they influence physical forces. They affect how particles interact and how fields behave. The constant activity may also shape the structure of space-time itself. Researchers study these effects to understand how energy in empty space interacts with the rest of physics. Uh-huh. Some scientists think zero-point energy may be connected to the expansion of the universe. If empty space contains energy, it could help push galaxies apart. This idea is being tested. If proven, it would explain part of the mystery behind dark energy and why the universe continues to grow faster over time. Or that's really speculation. Expansion is always expanding. But it waxes and wanes with anything else. Zero-point energy remains one of the most interesting subjects in modern physics. It shows that space is active even when nothing appears to be there. This hidden motion shapes matter on tiny scales and may influence cosmic motion on very large scales. Ongoing research will help reveal how this energy fits into the full story of the universe. All right. I thought that was interesting to read, but my perspective here, again, just the way I view reality, you can't define what space actually is. In linear time, 3D, we have an understanding because that's where we are. We're comprehending there is a space between two of my hands. There is space-time. There is air moving with molecules, and I'm moving molecules and particles as we speak, doing that. So I don't think anything is actually empty, and just because we perceive it to be empty, do we understand that we have whizzing numbers going through our field of vision right now that we can't perceive yet still exists? Wi-Fi signals, radio, X-ray, radiation, all kinds of damaging fun that is whizzing past us through us at this instantaneous moment. And that doesn't necessarily mean that the space is occupied. by molecules of gas, air, water, dust, junk. So it's interesting the perception, the 0 point, there is a real thing about 0 point, for sure. That doesn't go away. But we gotta look at the 0 point in a different model, in a different manner, because there is every space is occupied by so many things, because you perceive nothing in front of you besides you and your screen, or you and the phone, or you and whatever you're looking at me at. There's a million things going between me and my computer screen right now. You just can't perceive them. Does that mean that space is empty? And if you're looking at it in scientific terms, um, it's just one of those things that I question and ponder. Um, I might be reading it wrong. I don't know. Hidden fluctuations. I mean, we don't see subatomic particles. We're not seeing entropy happening, or decoherence. We're not seeing dark energy. And I'm not a person that is against dark energy. I think there's a lot of it. And we are misinformed about what it actually is, because no one knows what it is. Even though it is studied, and I'm sure a CERN laboratory has a book on it with every near description of everything that it's plucked without telling the public. But I do believe, if we look at the Da Vinci Code in the movie and all that nonsense, there is some truth to that movie. But dark doesn't necessarily mean evil, and that's where most people's minds go. And until we go into a neutral state of understanding, this is just a loop around pondering that I present to you. There's another goodie for us. Did you know the quantum vacuum can act like a prism when extreme fields polarize it and bend light without matter? I find this highly interesting and can't wait to read what's going on here. The quantum vacuum, often described as empty space, here we go again, is far more dynamic than it appears. Under extreme strong electromagnetic fields, scientists predict that this vacuum can become polarized, allowing it to bend light even though no physical matter is present. This behavior makes the vacuum act like a prism, spitting or splitting or redirecting lights in ways normally associated with glass or crystals. This effect comes from quantum electrodynamics, which shows that what seems like empty space is filled with virtual particles that constantly appear and vanish. When exposed to powerful fields, these particles influence how light travels. Instead of moving in a straight line, the light shifts direction, revealing hidden structure in what we usually call nothing. Experiments hope to observe this effect using intense lasers or extreme environments such as neutron stars, where magnetic fields are trillions of times stronger than those on Earth. Detecting vacuum polarization would confirm long-standing predictions and other insight into how light and space behave under extreme conditions. Understanding this phenomenon also helps bridge quantum physics and astrophysics. It shows that even empty space can shape the universe in surprising ways. Research continues as scientists search for clearer evidence of how the vacuum interacts with one of nature's most fundamental forces. Like I was saying with the other article, Third dimensional thinking. Third dimensional thinking. Let's go to four-dimensional thinking. Even five. Vacuums do exist. Electromagnetic fields exist. Light exists. The spectrums are different in different densities. Why are we confining our thinking to third dimension? I don't. But it's one of these conundrums that I also postulate of how in what we can consider time travelers, I'm just using this as an example, where we've seen pictures, whether they might be doctored or not. I don't know. I don't question these things, but there is interesting things that we see in photographs from the 1800s that cannot be replicated or doctored with Photoshop, even as some people will say it is. There is still evidence out there that people have shifted dimensional spaces and realities based off their frequency and vibration and wavelength. It becomes very metaphysical in thinking to how these particles and these waves and matter is a third dimensional concept. It becomes less loose in 4D and it kind of potentially dissolves in 5. 5 is a light, the beginnings of it or the merger of it. So, and that's a perspective. That's not definitely, we don't know what's going to happen because your reality is going to create it. It's already created. It depends what function of physics you're looking at. If we look at the many worlds interpretation, there's a billion trillion timelines and you've lived all of them. Now, which one are you jumping to? So how could it be in that model that we have empty space? Because we see nothing whizzing by our faces. It determined it's empty. There's nothing there. I mean, if you look at it in a third dimensional system and thinking, sure, there is nothing in front of me in the screen besides air, but that is something. Am I thinking too deeply? Am I pondering too in depth? Oh, ow. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think if you watch this and know a lot about physics. I like to read these articles and then postulate and ponder and expand on certain concepts because sure, vacuum, we know how a vacuum works. Is there nothing? What is nothing? I I mean, and then look at it from a 3D lens, a 4D lens, and a 5D lens. What is that nothingness? There's always something. God created, in my perception, the all that is God, the one infinite creator, it creates. So there are particles whizzing and nitrogen and oxygen molecules whizzing through the air right as you are speaking, breathing, and watching me. So how can we say there's nothing when there's so many components? It's the things that you can't see yet still exist. Metaphysical component. There are things that are in between us. What is the state of nothingness that these people are pondering and talking about? The vastness of the realm. some people don't see space as it being planets and circular globular things outside of Earth. Some people see Earth as a realm. Some people see the Earth inside a firmament, and there's other domes and firmaments and other lands that we have already named outside nos confunden. We have the many worlds interpretation. We have bubble pockets of universal spaces that happen in between ours. Multidimensional. What does that actually look like and mean? I mean, this is more on the spiritual component than it is on the quantum physics component. But we are talking and interchanging the language, and it very much feels like there's something amiss with this. And I hope to shed some light on it at some point in this journey that I'm on. Let's go to the next article, shall we? This next article. Quantum Zeno effect shows that constant observation can stop a particle from changing and lock it in place. So if I observe a particle of my future, my higher density self merging with this self, and I have financial success and everything goes beautiful, I wonder when it can lock. Well, how can we do this? Quantum physics reveals a surprising rule where simple watching a particle can stop it from changing at all. This strange behavior is known as quantum Zeno effect. When a particle is observed again and again in rapid succession, it can become frozen in its current state, unable to evolve or move forward as it normally would. In everyday life, observation does nothing to stop motion. A watch clock still ticks. A falling object still falls. But in the quantum world, measurement is not passive. Every observation interacts with the particle. They interrupt the particle's natural ability to change, locking it into place through constant interruption. This effect happens because quantum systems exist as probabilities until they are measured. Each observation forces the system to choose a definite state. If this happens too often, the system never gets the chance to evolve into something new. It is constantly pressing pause before the video can continue to play. I'm going to put a pause here. Okay, so what I thought it was saying isn't. This brings me into the spiritual notion that once you want, so when you have superposition, you're looking at the timelines of yourself that has it all, the one that you are trying to strive for. And in that observation and the feeling that you are reserving for self, in some models and some probabilities, you're supposed to like kind of let that go and not think about it so that you're not stopping the quantum process from collapsing into the wave function for it to manifest into this reality. If I have that on the spiritual side, right. Um, because once you observe, right, like say I want my YouTube channel to get 100K subscribers. Obviously, I wanted to get further from that, but that's like the goal I feel I can obtain. So there's a timeline of a higher self or another self living the life that I desire. I'm married, I have a husband, I'm happy, I have a working vehicle. I don't feel like I'm done every single moment of the day. I have published a book. I have success and my artwork is making me six figures, right? These are all the desired things that would make me happy, that it would provide me a means to help humanity in a bigger way and help people out physically. So if I keep feeling the state of this status of myself merging in with this one, I can't observe it. I have to let it go. This is kind of what I'm reading about because you're stopping it from evolving. And maybe your desired result might be even sweeter if we just have the feeling and let it go. Or hold the feeling but don't imagine it. There's a lot still unanswered in that. Scientists have tested the quantum Zeno effect in laboratories using atoms, photons, and other quantum systems. The result confirmed that frequent measurement can slow down change or even stop it entirely. This discovery has real impacts for quantum computing and precision control, where, maintaining stable states is critical. So I could see where this could be used for computing and computational stuff, thermodynamics, where you like want to observe the particle and you want it to stop and kind of freeze in itself, lock in a place because you want to manipulate it. Or you need it to be at a critical juncture to be used in a more definite way. So if I could freeze and lock a particle of my future self in place, can I then merge with it and then unobserve it or decohere it in order to move forward? Who knows? The idea that observation can freeze reality feels almost philosophical. It suggests that change depends on freedom from interference at the quantum level. Motion requires space to unfold without interruption. Quantum Zeno effect reminds us that reality behaves differently when closely watched. The universe at its smallest scale is sensitive, reactive, and deeply shaped by attention itself. That's why you'll hear people like, my thoughts create things. Well, yeah, it creates everything. Your thoughts create your reality. And when we observe, fix focus on things, they become locked in place, like your coffee cup. I don't know if I have this on the, again, there's lots of postulates, a lot of these new quantum phraseologies that I need to learn. But in me observing this coffee cup locking the particles in place, it's really good coffee. I mean, just think about it. Everything that you are creating, co-creating with all of us, we're observing the particles. We're observing the objects that are particles. Are we locking it into place to become material? I mean, stripping everything down from its quantum definition, maybe. A lot of pondering tonight, and I like this because it gets my mind off of the hell of my soul contract that I am burning in. Because I pause to just like recenter and get my articles up. I just found two brand new stinking articles I just shared to Facebook. So this is where I get my stuff from, and Spirit drops me goodies. As the Schumann resonance today was showing, a lot of energy. That's probably why I walk 2 hours, an hour going and an hour coming back from the post office in 0 degrees, probably -10. Um, whatever it is outside, it is brutal. Brutal. Quantum engineers claim pathways to shadow realms as a transdimensional gateway reaches stability. Uh, what? Quantum engineering is starting to sound like science fiction brought to life. Researchers exploring exotic states of matter and higher dimensional physics now suggest they have achieved conditions that act like a stable gateway between different quantum realms. While not a literal doorway to another universe, the effect behaves like a controlled link into what they call shadow states. I am very curious about this. Hidden regions of quantum possibility that normally remain unreachable. These shadow realms refer to quantum phases that exist beneath ordinary reality. Ooh, the overlay. They cannot be seen directly, but can influence particles in subtle ways by shaping energy fields and structuring materials at microscopic levels. Engineers can guide particles into these hidden states and bring them back again without losing coherence. Achieving stability in this process is what makes the new breakthrough so remarkable. Oh boy. The core idea is that quantum systems can access dimensions of behavior that do not exist in classical physics. Ta-da! I've been calling that one out for a long time. When the gateways stabilize, particles move through patterns that resemble motion in extended or folded dimensions. Time folding on itself, time folding on itself, time folding on itself. The properties shift in ways that look impossible in our familiar three-dimensional world. Everything's layered, everything's layered. This gives scientists a tool for exploring quantum landscapes once thought permanently out of reach. Love this. This research does not open portals to other universes, but it does unlock new layers of physical law. Stable access to shadow states could revolutionize material science, computing, and communication. Particles traveling through these trans-dimensional patterns may carry information with extreme efficiency or reveal new quantum effects that reshape technology in the coming decades. What makes this discovery exciting is how much mystery remains. The universe appears to contain hidden frameworks that only reveal themselves when probed with precision and imagination. A stabilized quantum gateway hints that reality is deeper, richer, and more layered than expected. Quantum engineering is not just studying the world, it's learning how to navigate its unseen dimensions. Bum, 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 bum. Time folding on itself, time folding on itself. Stair stepping to ascension, stair stepping to ascension. Getting festive here. What spirit, I mean, obviously they're not going to give me the answers because I have to seek this out for myself. But what interests me in this is the shadow work that we all do. Is the releasing, the acknowledgement, the observing of the trauma, confronting the trauma, looking at a healed state of being in oneness, the expansion of self, looking at shadow work. Is shadow work transdimensional? Are we tapping in? So there's too much going on in my brain. Let's so as we are ascending and we're looking at the superposition of the life that we desire, the timeline that we want to merge with and quantum leap to, do we also have to unfrail the shadow quantum world where we exist in superposition of shadow? Because we are dual. We have a positive and a negative charge in our body. We got the see you next Tuesday and the angel on the other hand. Are the pathways opening up because we are dealing and healing and rectifying the shadow quantum aspects of self? Are we collapsing and decohering those potentialities because we have healed the timeline? So in a spiritual context, many of us volunteer to be here in the now moment to render karma clean, clean slate, clean, clear, cancel, delete, old timeline, obsolete codes. Are we here to deal with shadow work, to deal with the karma, to deal with the other people, other places and things in the shadow realm, render it void because we have released, healed, and are moving forward? Are we decohering those possibilities and potentialities? Are they in entropy? So you have your superposition here and you have your superposition in shadow. Do you have to balance this out? Do you have to clear? Obviously, we've been purging, we've been getting everything that no longer serves us out of the equation. People, places, and things. My life is decohering at every aspect at every minute of the day. I'm in decoherence. Everything is like, you bitch, fuck you, bitch. And on top of that, like here's more. Here's more. Oh, but have faith because it just continues to look like everything is collapsing, and it is. And fuck you some more. That's what the universe is doing to Allison right now. I'm done. Oh, but you have to keep positive and you have to get okay. So how naive and realistic do I need to get? Oh, but you have to keep that feeling. Okay, so I keep that feeling. Am I being naive about it? How much wish fulfillment and how much do I have to hold in my quantum field before like I transcend self? Because how much patience could be a lifetime. I'm not waiting a lifetime. Getting back to the like, is this the shadow? Is this like my end game shadow done? Adios arrivederci, and let's go this way. There's still going to be shadow up there to deal with until duality contrast doesn't serve its purpose anymore because you evolved past that point. This is interesting to say the least. I had to look more into transdimensional because I know interdimensional, multidimensional, transdimensional, and then shadow involving that. It's just an interesting dichotomy to look into. A lot of paradox there. Are I see my hand is being held up. Hi. But I want you guys to think about what I just said. Pathways to shadow realms are these realms where the lower vibratory states of us live, where the choices that we do not prefer are still playing out of the fear, out of the anxiousness, out of the anxiety. Is that going on over here in this realm? And then what we want to cohere to and collapse in prosperity, peace, truth, respect, joy, love, all of that over there, is it, whoo, we could do the disco, but is there two potentialities? I mean, Spirit gives me this for a reason, but this is brilliant to think about. You know what, as above, so below. And we're just putting a label to it named shadow. And we're talking about the spiritual stuff at the moment. In quantum state, shadow probably means a bit different. But if we're looking at the spiritual component of the quantum, do we have to be careful that as we're merging into new self, we're not collapsing a shadow aspect? And not to say the shadow needs to be on a different or a lower vibratory state. It might be as equal to your cohered positive state. Where's the pendulum swinging and how far does it swing on either end? And all within with the soul contracts. My brain hurts, but it's in a good way. This last article is hold your hats. Get ready. Are you guys ready? I am. Quantum logic allows events to be true, false, both, or neither, as superposition breaks limits of classical reasoning. Woo! Divine neutrality wins. Sorry. Quantum logic challenges one of the most basic assumptions we learn about truth. In classical logic, something must be either true or false because we live in a separated, limited, dimensional space. There is no in between, no overlap, and no contradictions allowed. But in the quantum world, events can be true, false, both, or neither, depending on their superposition. Reality does not always follow the crisp categories our minds expect. Wow. I've been saying this, and now we have an article about it. Yay. In quantum physics, a particle can exist in multiple states at the same time. This means propositions about the particle can also hold multiple truth values. Truth is at the frequency of where your vibration is at. A statement like, the particle is here, might be partly true and partly false until the moment of measurement. Schrodinger's cat. Classical logic cannot handle this, but quantum logic was created to describe how the universe actually behaves at tiny scales. Superposition allows contradictory states to coexist. A quantum system may be in state A and state B at the same time. It may also be in neither until an interaction forces a choice. Ah, the many worlds interpretation right here. This does not mean reality is broken. It means the structure of truth is more flexible than classical rules allow. Quantum logic accepts that information can remain undecided, overlapping, or undefined until the system is observed. And that's how you perceive the observation. That's the state of where it lies. Scientists use quantum logic to understand measurements, probabilities, and entanglement. When two particles are linked, their truth values depend on each other in ways they defy classical reasoning. The outcome of one event can define the truth of another instantly, even across distance. These effects show that quantum truth is relational and contextual rather than fixed and absolute. Thinking about truth this way reshapes how we see reality. The universe does not operate in simple binaries. It behaves through patterns of possibility, probability, and connection. Quantum logic reveals a world where truth is dynamic, layered, and sometimes beautifully contradictory. Why I'm so excited. I've been saying this because I've been saying this for a while. Once I found divine neutrality, once I understood and embodied the idea that there are things that are, we label in classical form good and evil. But I see beyond good and evil because it has a bigger purpose for playing out. So I perceive a bigger, larger totality of my tiny little minute picture. And from seeing, let me try to explain this. So let's just say I'm not claiming this, but let's just say I am a Republican conservative. And let's just say there's a Democrat liberal on this side, right? There's two dynamics. And there's the middle. This person feels their truth, like this is it. They're wrong, I'm right. And these people are like, well, I'm right, they're wrong. And there's an inference there because it's how you feel and your truth that you perceive that matters. Are these people right or wrong? Or are these people right or wrong? And it's based off your bias, your programming, your narrative steering, and the way you grew up. All of it's program. Maybe you take the eagle eye view and look above both paradigms in what, let's just say, third dimension. And you're like, well, these people have some things that are true, and these people have some things that are true. And what can we co-creatively come together to unite on? We see this playing out in politics all the time, but we don't ever see the middle coming together, the two halves coming to a whole and unifying, at least on a subject. Truth is at a frequency of your vibratory state. And as we are moving up in dimensions and the overlay, we're jumping, we're moving, we're merging, we're ascending, we're getting on up there. Your truth and what you find true distorts. What you once thought was true might be false. If you look at a mirror, there's an inversion. Everything is mirrored back to you. It's reversed. Isn't an actually true? Is what you see on television true? Well, in third dimension, yeah, I'm watching these pixelations in the screen and they're happening and my brain's making sense out of them. Your truth is not going to be the same as anybody else's. Your frequency is unique to you. The truth you inhabit, the truth you embody is going to be different. They're similar truths, meaning we, in the waveform, in the wave function that is happening co-creatively, humanity in the quantum field, we have probabilities of higher percentages of things that we all agree on that are going to interplay and interlace here in reality because we're observing the superposition and it's dropping in. Meaning that all of us are co-creating at an accelerated rate, that we're observing the reality of truth that we desire. That doesn't mean it's right, wrong, or indifferent. That's what we're all simultaneously doing. Many worlds interpretation. Dolores Cannon. In one reality, I chose to be with Marine. In his reality, he chose not to be with me. And in some way, the choices are made and the split happens. Both are true and untrue, because in one reality, I'm living the life of desired want with him, and the other is not. So in two states of superposition, in one reality, I am living that life with him, and one reality, I'm living without him. Both are true and untrue at the same time. In this reality, I'm solo. I sneezed. Sorry. So if we're looking at all of this classical reasoning and going to quantum reasoning, I guess I was ahead of the curve for understanding divine neutrality in such a way that it could be classified as quantum logic. Maybe that's what it is, that I'm seeing all probabilities and possibilities. That's why no one can actually predict the future. It's potentials that have higher fractaled rates of occurring. So if you are fixing your energy on a state of observation and you're in the superposition, you haven't chosen what you want yet, you have to feel it, by the way. And then you're gravitating it towards you, you're magnetizing it like the law of attraction. You're trying to bring it down to collapse into the wave function of this branching of reality. But I could also go for a superposition over here. There's a multitude of layering of all of this. And that's why when people are like, I want the truth. Okay, that's your truth that you want. And maybe a multitude of people see your perception of that truth. And it needs to be your ego's right or wrong. When in reality, it's all playing out. Humanity chose a story to as a contractual thing to learn from, and if you detach your emotional states to it, it starts decohering and collapsing. As we are seeing, there are things that are being brought to the forth for people to wake up, but to wake up to what? It all stems from inside of you, and not everybody is going inside of yourselves to know what's your reality. Why do you feel the truth that you feel? Why is this classical logic? Instead of saying, well, it's all about the children. It's all about this and it's all about that. First, understand soul contracts. First, understand like there's a billion versions of you and there's a billion stories to be told. You chose your story to play out in this reality for a reason. And my mind sucks ass. Not because I want to speak the negativity into the world. It's where I'm at. That's real. That's real logic right now. Not because I want pity, not because I'm being an asshole, not because I chose a really difficult story to not come back here anymore to overcome. I don't know if I can overcome it. I'm getting tired of the same story. And as I'm doing all the work and really feeling it, the feeling, and oh, don't give up, don't give up, don't give up. Okay, so it's another 25 years until I don't give up and I'm dead in this form. I mean, I don't ever die, but you know what I'm saying. I mean, Bashar talks about transcending, and in one reality, you just merge with another self that's already living past the state of where you were and continuing on. I mean, if that's a probability possibility, then anything is. And we have to stop defining in the third dimensional term because most of us are already moved and merged into four. And this is the language that we are needing to merge ourselves with and advance ourselves with. And not being so much in our ego to say, well, I'm right and you're wrong. Okay, moralistically on a third dimensional scale, sure, you do something bad, you're wrong. All right, but there might be a hidden, determined reasoning why that person chose to do the wrong, or they don't perceive it to be wrong and they feel that it's right. You know, the conundrum story of, the person that's on the street that goes and steals a loaf of bread. I mean, obviously that sucks, but were they wrong? Sure, but did they do it for a moralistically bigger and grander purpose of surviving? So is that right or wrong? So you got to look at these little epiphanies and these little truthtoids and bring it into focus about how you see your reality and how you're stuck in programs and narratives that are being steered in our dichotomy right now in the world. Do you buy it anymore? Is it your truth that you're holding? What you think about is feeding into the collective. So I stop feeding things that I see. No, A, don't put food on my table, are not doing me any good besides distraction, big distraction, feeding me anxiety and nervousness that I don't necessarily need any more of. I'm glad I'm already gray. But if we look at this and apply logic and reason to it, but on a higher density scale, on 4D scale, maybe more and more people will stop being adamant that they are right, that their reality is the truest and there can be no other. And that to me is where we need to start growing more into, because the way other people perceive the world is not the way you do, and it doesn't make it right or wrong. It just makes it a potentiality in a timeline where it exists. It all exists. What exists in your reality right now is determined by you. So when we clean up our language, when we clean up our thinking, when we really look at what defies us, what is our personal truths, it's a frequency that you're inhibiting that is coming from your toroidal field. And other people might have very similar states, so you co-create and co-mingle with each other. That's your tribe. But on a grander humanitarian scale, we need to really look at the dynamic of this side is right or that side is wrong. It's the same fucking bird with two wings. It's flappies. It's batty. It's a bat, and there's the right and the left. And they fight with each other. And poor Batty is stuck in the middle going, really? Just end the damn crap. Batty's words. So very interesting. I'm still trying to figure out how to tangibly show superposition and observation and changing my life and transforming it via using quantum techniques. So far, we're getting little pings from the higher self that things are moving in a direction, but then I keep getting the hammer of Thor knocking me to my feet and 50,000 feet back. That just keeps happening. But I'm here on my journey just until the lights are shut off and I have to move house and disappear. I will be here until I can't be here anymore. That's the truth. It is almost my bedtime. 5 minutes till. So sending each and every one of you love, light, compassion, grace, shielding, and protective energy. Please go with them. Be the shoulders, be the lighthouses, seed your truths, light that path forward. Don't forget to hype. Don't forget to like. I will be live at some point tomorrow. Don't know what time, so make sure you're ringing the icon for the ring-a-ding-ding so you know when I do go pop up live. Unfortunately, I don't have it figured out how to put up a little thread and hey, I'm going live. It doesn't happen like that for me just yet. So until I figure it out, and it works. Just make sure you hit the bell icon. I don't know what I'm crafting. I might just continue with the light bulb or finish the portrait that I'm doing. But either way, we'll be crafting and creating at some point. Um, I honestly hope things get better. I hate complaining. I'm over it. And I am so beyond my boundaries done with just so many things. I just have to breathe and ground. But thank you everybody. Sorry this was like I wanted to do the Awaspi reading. I just needed to get my mind into something that actually cheers me up and brings me more joy. Not that reading doesn't, but this gives me my highest excitement. So until the next one, guys, thank you for watching and have a blessed and beautiful night or day wherever you are. Bye for now.